Welcome to Wilkes University Electrical Engineering, 4-year, 130 credit hour program, A-BET accredited. And that's very important, by the way. That means that your degree is worth quite a bit when you go to an A-BET accredited engineering program. That's a big deal. There are schools that are not A-BET accredited, but some of those that are not perhaps don't have to be, for example, MIT might not have to be, but we certainly are. And most of the electrical engineering programs in general are in fact A-BET accredited. We have the program in physics, which I've mentioned before in your visits. And we also have, for your information, the bioengineering program. All the programs can allow us to have double majors, although the structure that we have would indicate double majors, for example, will indicate you'll have to have some extra time, extra summers, and maybe an extra semester or two to finish up both programs. If you come into Wilkes University with additional information, maybe some credits, for example, that you've got in high school, or you went to some community colleges and got some credit for some courses that put you a little bit ahead, and that can help you with a double major. So that's the kind of thing that we have, and that's an overview of our program. What I'd like to say is that in many cases, most of our engineers here, they graduate and go to places such as Penn State, perhaps, for a graduate program, or they might go to Temple or Lehigh. We have students going into master's and directly into PhD programs where it makes sense for them. And that would be, if you can kind of guess, they do some things over here in basic research and want to continue on. Many folks who get a master's immediately out of Wilkes or go directly to a PhD program. Most of those folks will go to a PhD and probably want to spend some time in research. And the Wilkes background that you will get will allow that. It does prepare you for it. For example, we have a young man right now who's done some research in some semiconductor work, and he's actually given some papers already at the University of Arkansas, and will in fact probably go there for some additional research work in his PhD. In terms of industries, a lot of times we have some folks going in industry. Lockheed Martin, for example, hires a lot of folks. BAE Systems, which is British Aerospace Systems, they are relatively local up in either Sanders, New Hampshire, or up near Binghamton, New York. Gentex is a local defense company. onsemi is not too far away. Lacey, didn't you work at onsemi for a while?
Yes, last spring I had a co-op there, and I did the co-op through you, Professor Taylor.
Yep, very good, very good. And it's a company that hires a lot of our grads, right?
Yes, Dr. Dew's class came and took a tour, and it was all Wilkes alumni that worked there on semi that was giving the tour to the students.
That's fantastic. So I appreciate that. Thank you. I think that's a good recommendation. That many of the companies that are local are very, very familiar with Wilkes University and the talent that's here that provides them good employees in the future. A couple of consulting companies, Smith Miller and Borton Lawson, hire a lot of our employees or our students as their employees. And quite frankly, they come and want Wilkes students, and they use the internship program as a way to look at future students. Students. Look at our students as future employees. One of the companies, Smith Miller, has members on our advisory board, and one of their principal managers said that they use the Wilkes University internship program as a way to look at students and try to hire them, and it's worked very well. I would say 2 to 3 students every year get hired directly off of the experience they've had in their internship program. Lots more companies. the local utilities, for example, PPL hires some of our employees. UGI, which is the gas company, the gas utility, hires many of our employees. So it's I would say that most engineering folks at Wilkes University getting an EE degree never have a question about whether they get a job. The question is, which company would they select? And I think that's something that the communication is pretty open among students. Lacey, I'm going to ask you to respond to that one a little bit. What do you think? Am I overreacting, or do most students have to decide which of the job offers they get? Decide, and that's the hard question they have to respond to. Is that correct?
That, and also applying to jobs. You have to make the decision if you want to apply or not, and even actually go through the process and potentially get that position. It's all about what people like the most, what part of the industry they want to go into. There's a million different things you can do as an electrical engineer, and you really have to choose for yourself what you would like to do.
Very good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, that's where our students go. And I think in general, let me just kind of open this up for a second. Bo and Ian, when you look at a chart like this, what do you think you see right now? Where do you think you'd like to go? Let's say right out of college, where do you think you'd like to go? Would you want to try to continue with your degree? Do you want to try to go into industry, big company, small company, government labs? We have some folks going into government labs too. We deal with a lot with Toby Hanna National Laboratories. We have some other, the Navy, the Air Force. They come and include, and I have to add, Picatinny Arsenal, the Army send up representatives here to hire, looking to hire our engineers. So why don't you guys? What do you think? Where would you see yourself? Go ahead, Ian. Brett, you're going to say something.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure yet. I think I'd like to go into like a big company, maybe government work. It's really just I'm not sure yet, but probably down the line I'll have a better idea.
Okay, Bo, what do you think?
I think I want to go into like industry or like a smaller or like a medium-sized company.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would like to go back to like continue my degree eventually.
Very good. Well, in engineering, I'm going to make a comment that I think in electrical engineering, it's very good to get a master's degree. And some of the recommendations that I've made to our graduates, some of them were my advisees, but I recommend go ahead if you think you might want a master's degree or more, and you're not sure, but you want to start with industry. A lot of industries will pay for your master's program, and some of them pay for your PhD program. When I worked at Lockheed Martin, I did have students that came in and worked at Lockheed Martin, and we paid for their master's program and we paid for their PhD program as they got into real serious technical details that we were interested in. So I think that's quite acceptable, and I think it's a good thing. And on top of that, you can earn money and go ahead and get the company to pay for your master's program. Now, it takes a little longer. It is not a 2-year program, and when you're working for a company, it tends to take you 3 or 4 years to get a master's program, a little longer for PhD programs. But I think the issue is it's what you want to do, and Wilkes can help you at least get started in that venture. Well, let me continue. I think all of you, if you've been here, you've seen our curriculum. There's been some minor changes since we all talked. We added an additional circuits course that's down here on Electrical Engineering 216. You'll see this when you come in the fall. You'll see that and work with your advisor to go select the program. I put it in our package on purpose so that you can kind of get a reference just to keep on hand as to what kinds of programs you'd see. Often, as I've said before, some of the engineering students want to take summer courses here and there, and that works out pretty well. But I put it on there for your reference. Do you have any questions on that? Either one of you have any questions that that we could answer with regard to our curriculum?
Not at the moment, I don't think.
You have a pretty good understanding about what it's going to look like?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Bo, how about you?
I mean, I have a pretty good understanding of how it works too, so I think I'm pretty good.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and go around that one. I think many of you have seen this one already. If you came here for an open house, I probably shared this with you. Again, small classes and hands-on experience. I think that's one reason that Wilkes is such a good deal. If you're an athlete, obviously that's a good thing. That can fit pretty well. You can be a student, an engineering student, and an athlete. In fact, we recommend that you go ahead and, if you're not particularly involved in athletics, then get involved in some of our other activities. Lacey, what activities have you been in? You've been pretty open and pretty good at supporting our various programs. Which ones do you get yourself involved in?
So I am vice president of the Society of Women Engineers chapter at Wilkes. I am a member of IEEE, which is an electrical engineering club. And I've had a lot of work study jobs. So I worked an entire school year at the admissions office giving tours. I worked as a teacher's assistant like I am doing this semester, even though I'm no longer doing that right now. But there's plenty of time in your schedule that if you want to do something, you definitely can.
That's good. And I think it's important to do that. Thank you, Lacey. I think it's important to have some other activities. It helps keep your mind good and fresh, gives you a chance to do a hobby type of activity that is useful to yourself and to the university. So I think that's a pretty good thing. And I think most of you know that we as faculty members are here because we want to be here. It's a full-time job, but at the same time, we're here to make sure our students are happy and working their way through and getting an education. Let me show you, you've seen some of the facilities and these are the things that we just finished putting in place. We are computer labs with updated computers, and it's worked out. Our new microfabrication lab, and if I can point to a question, I think Lacey's in here in the microfabrication. Yeah, I think that's Lacey there, and this is you as well. Lacey, am I not correct there?
Yes, we had the photo shoot session.
Yes. We actually took some pictures. This facility, this is the first full year that facility is back up and running. We had some equipment that was given to us by On Semiconductor. It was donated to us because we're one of the few universities in the area with this kind of a capability. And that capability in microfabrication means that you get a chance to work with the research in semiconductors, in how we make semiconductors, the kinds of devices we can make with them. And in fact, we're dealing, Lacey didn't do that with her senior project, but there were some seniors who actually were working with state-of-the-art work to try to find out laser sensors, laser detectors, with some special semiconductors, and they were doing some basic research right here in their engineering labs, in our microfab engineering labs at Wilkes University. You can see we finally got our Flex Lab set up, and I think you've all seen that, where we use modern equipment the kinds of equipment that you would be seeing in a company, as a matter of fact. And then we have our communications and our microwave lab. You see Dr. Sabuni here with his students, and you're in this class too, I thought. Ah, there you are, Lacey.
Yes, I'm standing by the toolbox.
Right. So we have you can represent well some of the facilities. Let me ask Bo and Ian, did you get a chance to see all of the labs? I didn't remember which ones you've been through. So give me some. Which labs did you go visit, Bo? Okay, Ian, fine. You can start. Either one of you.
Oh, sorry. I think I saw the computer labs and the flex labs.
Okay.
I'm not sure about the microfabrication lab.
Okay. Bo, what did you see?
I definitely saw the computer and flex labs. I do not think I saw the microfabrication lab.
Okay. All right.
Computer and microwave lab.
Okay, all right. Well, that's that part of it. You know, that's something that you would see. That's normally a junior level and senior level courses. Even the communications lab is junior and senior level. But the reason I show those to you is that's a pretty important part. It places us right up there with a lot of the local universities, and in fact, in the microfab lab, we have some capability here that some of the bigger universities do not have. So it's a pretty good focus for us, and Wilkes going to be able to provide you a very good background in some of the fundamental electrical engineering technologies, and it'll give you the skills to do better going forward and get a better job. This is my humorous chart. One of the things that Wilkes is very good at is we have some pretty good equipment that you can work with. And of course, the nice thing about it is that our alumni have helped provide some of these things, and many of the grants that we get, those are the labs that you'd work. And so as a hands-on university, it's pretty important for us to give you as good equipment as we can. Now, it isn't the best. If you go to a Lockheed Martin, for example, you're going to see more than just this kind of microwave equipment. You're going to see some more, but this Wilkes will give you a good background into understanding the kind of using the equipment that you would be seeing in industry. So with that in mind, I am going to terminate our presentation and get back to some face-to-face information and say, okay, what kind of questions do you all have? What else would you like to know about Wilkes University?
I have a question about double majoring in
Okay.
mechanical engineering and electrical engineering.
Okay.
Do you think that you'd have to take more than the 4 years to double major, or do you think that, I know that some of them, the courses coincide with each other?
The first 3 semesters, excuse me, the first 3 semesters, yes, and of course all of the general education courses that we have, those would all account for either degree. What happens is about your 3rd semester, someplace in the 2nd and 3rd semester, you would start focusing on electrical engineering and mechanical engineering. And some of the courses are offered at the same time. Now, if you try to do it in 4 years, you're gonna have to take some summer courses, and that's gonna be pretty hard. Now, what kind of courses would you have coming in? Do you have any advanced placement courses, or are you taking any community college or local college courses? Would you be coming in with any of those?
I'm in most of the AP classes. I just didn't do the tests for it.
Okay.
But I took them, so I know some of the stuff that I should.
Okay. Well, for us to give you credit, you would have to take the exams. I think are you taking any AP Calc classes?
I am.
Okay, well, see, when you come in, you would take the math placement exam. If you've taken AP Calculus, you probably will do pretty well and then enter your first semester with Calc 1. To be candid with you, I think if you don't come in with advanced coursework, then what you're going to have to, in other words, get credit for courses, you are going to take probably an additional semester, summer's an additional semester, and that's what I think you have to plan for that if you do a double major. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I've had some very fine students. We have one of my advisees is a double major, electrical and mechanical engineering, and is playing on the lacrosse team. And he's going to take, I believe, he's had to take some summer courses at a local university where he lives, and I think he's going to take an extra semester to graduate. It's pretty hard to do 2 majors in 4 years. That's a tough one, and I think my recommendation is take some summer courses and be prepared for an extra semester. That's just the way it works. Now we can get you can do your senior projects, and I have an agreement with the chair of the mechanical engineering department. You can do uh, two majors with one senior project. But generally, I got to be honest with you, I think it's going to take an extra semester at least. Does that help?
Yeah, I figured it would be at least an extra semester. I just thought, just in case.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, Ian. That's the way it is. Now, what we do is you you don't have to worry about it the first year because those courses are all the same, and you can you could, as long as you let us know, I think we can work it out. So what Bo? How about you? What any specific questions you have?
So I actually do have college courses that I've already taken in high school,
Okay,
and
which ones are they?
I've taken digital electronics,
Mm-hmm.
and I do not know the other one because I'm finishing it right now.
Okay.
Um, but I did both of them through Penn College of Technology, and I was wondering how I could get them to transfer.
What we do is we would take a look at what those courses are. If you want to transfer credits from someplace like Pentech, what you will need to do is get a copy of the course syllabus from them and then bring it to our admissions department. And what they'll do is they'll send it to us, and they classically would send it to me, and I just make sure that it matches up with a course that you could take here, so you wouldn't have to take the course here. The best thing also is if you have some college credit or you have some AP credit, make sure that the admissions department knows that when you come in. Normally, folks will come in June or July. Probably they're going to come in July this year. It looks as though we may be able to open the second part of the summer. I'm not sure. I mean, don't take that word to be for sure, but things seem to be opening up, even though we're on remote for the first part of the summer. Uh, I think things are looking pretty good for the fall, and then you'd come for orientation in late summer. That's the time to bring all that documentation. So, Bo, I would make sure you have the paperwork and bring some syllabi for each one. Okay, any other questions? Anything at all? Lacey, can you bring up what's your major? I know what your major is. Didn't you minor?
Yeah, well, if you want me to talk about myself, I can.
Good. I think you should.
So again, my name is Lacey. I'm a senior electrical engineer with a minor in physics, and I didn't declare my physics minor until my junior year. I've had 2 internships, one being a co-op during the spring of my junior year, and the other being last summer. A little bit more about myself. My sister also attends Wilkes with me. She's a pharmacy major. My dad got his environmental engineering degree from Wilkes. My fiance, which I'm crossing my fingers to marry in a month, is a mechanical engineering major, also in ROTC. So we will be moving to South Carolina, where he will be stationed pretty soon. So fun stuff. I know a lot about Wilkes, a lot about the different programs. Yeah, if you guys have any questions for me, want me to talk about my internships or anything like that, I can.
Just open up, folks. Any other questions that you might have?
What are some of the major like extracurricular programs that do with engineering at Wilkes?
I'm going to let Lacey answer that one.
Yeah, so we have a lot of clubs. So like we have the Society of Women Engineers, which were non-gender or major exclusive, so we include everyone. We have IEEE. There's Mechanical has one of their own clubs. There is ESAC, which is the engineering club in general. And there's other clubs that you can get involved in that are not major specific. I was a part of the Residence Hall Council my first year because I lived on campus, so I thought it was pretty cool to be a part of something like that. There's all kinds of things to be a part of, events that those clubs put on that anyone's welcome to attend. So there's always kind of something to do. Will either of you guys be living on campus, or are you guys commuters?
I'm living on campus.
I'm also going to be living on campus.
Awesome. So you guys have the cool option of living in a mansion, maybe. So it's a different living setting than a typical dorm, which is pretty neat. It lets you make friends in a different environment than a typical college freshman. Or you could opt to live in the typical dorms that have air conditioning as a benefit.
That helps in the summer for sure.
Yeah, it's only like the first 3 weeks and the last 3 weeks that are the worst. But if you can get over it, it's pretty fun.
Other questions, fellas?
I think that's it for me.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you answered all my questions.
Okay. Why? Just give me a little help now. Why did you finally decide on Wilkes?
I can tell you why I picked Wilkes.
Hey, why don't you do that? You start off, Lacey.
So one of the big things Wilkes has is the ABET accreditation, which is huge, a part of engineering. So what that allows me to do is I took a test, the Fundamentals of Engineers, which is sort of like the SAT for engineers, and you take it in your certain field. And so now that I have that, I will be in engineering training after I graduate. And if I work under a professional engineer for 4 years, since I'm ABET, instead of 8 years, if I was not ABET degree program, I'm able to then take a test for my professional engineering license, which is something that you need when you work with public projects.
That's a really good point, Lacey. Really good.
Also, the small school setting is pretty big. That was a big factor for me picking a school, because Wilkes has a lot to offer, but it lets you get to know your professors, such as Professor Taylor emailing me a couple hours ago asking me to join this meeting. Like, my professors know me on the first name basis, and within your first 2 semesters, your professors are going to know your faces. Your advisors know your faces. They only have about 30 advisees, so they make sure that you're doing okay.
Why did you pick Wilkes, Bo?
So I knew very little about Wilkes when I visited the campus, but I wanted to visit the campus anyways just to learn more.
Uh-huh.
But when I visited the campus, I really liked the atmosphere and kind of like the environment that I felt on campus. And I felt that the program was pretty strong, so I thought I would look into it more. And then I just kind of fell in love with the school after that.
That's a great place. Oh, with a great place. Fantastic. Ian, how about you?
I think a big part of it for me was I like small campuses more than big campuses. I like being in a more interactive classroom
Mm-hmm.
in that sense. Also, I'm close to home. I live about 15 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
So I could go home on the weekends if I even wanted to also.
That's a good thing. My son, as a matter of fact, went to a local college, and he stayed at home for a while, but then he decided to get part of that college atmosphere was to actually live on campus. And I think that's a great thing to do. I think living on campus, even if you can drive home, living on campus is a good thing. It helps give you some independence as well as join the societies that are on campus. And I think that the kind of thing that Lacey was talking about, it's a good thing. Anything else?
My dad always made fun of me as to why I chose Wilkes.
Was that right?
So I never heard of Wilkes before, like, I started looking for colleges, and my dad's like, oh, you should check out my alma mater. And I was like, well, where is that? Like, it's 4 hours away. Why would I want to go there? And as soon as I stepped on campus, I loved it. And on the way home from visiting, I was like, Dad, I really want to go there. Like, it's awesome. It's small. We have labs and facilities. So when I've toward, we still had the old engineering classrooms, but now you have nicer facilities that you guys get to use. So that's also something pretty cool that I didn't have to start off with.
Yep, I think that's a good deal. Well, I'm told that we should be terminating pretty soon and give you all a chance to do some other things remotely. I hope this has been worthwhile for you, both Bo and Ian. Lacey and I have been working together on some of the meetings when we have students come in and the tours and the open houses, so that we kind of like it and get used to it. But hope we've answered some questions. We certainly would like to see you both. See you when you get here for orientation. And may I say the following: please, if you have any questions, feel free to get a hold of me or anybody in admissions, and we can answer some questions for you.